Hello everybody, this is Make It Better, and today we're doing What If Deku was a Mutant Part 12. 18 plus, just to be sure. So, everything like last video. Yeah. Here we go. Of course. Now they start up. Now, Zuko is in the boys' room, and, well, the boys are already in there and already got their stuff ready for going to sleep. But they decide to stay up longer to talk about everything or anything they want to talk about. Of course, playing games. Zuko got in there a bit late, bringing in two people. One that was already tied up and their mouths covered up with a few rope and put them in the corner. But another one came by, being wrapped around by Zuko's tail, because Koda actually like it like that. It just feels warm and, well, so to him it feels soft or smooth. Zuko basically explained that Koda will be in this room until he falls asleep. He won't bother you guys at all, so continue on whatever you were talking about. As Zuko went to a corner, just making sure that Koda was, of course, occupied, up until a question came up. And this will be Sero. Sero asked Zuko about his parents, since, well, he knows about almost everybody in their class except yours. And I just wanted to know a more, like, did you get your quirk from your dad or your mom? And Zuko thinks about it, said no. My dad he had a fire breathing quirk, and I believe my mom was a levitation quirk. Sarah said, oh, that's pretty interesting. So you're one of the rare ones that develop a quirk on your own? Until someone, and right before, right when he finished that, Kaminari came up and said, but you said was, where, if I was right, where is your parents now? Zuko said, oh, I guess I didn't tell you guys yet. He keep it quiet, and the guys are starting to kind of wonder. Then another person comes up, and this is Bakugo, asking, I've been meaning to ask you, how do you get so? How can you make Aizawa act that way to you? What did you do to him to be that like that? It's almost like he's your father or something. And Zook said, yeah. And he kind of gives a slight smile and thinks about how he's going to answer this. Learns that he basically told Momo, and she basically told the girl, so no point of hiding it. So he decided to sell it. Well, let's put it this way. I never really said who my father is now. My parents, they are dead. After everybody was gasping and apologizing, saying sorry for of them not knowing and all of that. And Zook said, it's fine. I didn't tell you, so. But my father now, he gave a slight grin, smirk on the one side of his cheek. And he looked straight at them and said, my father, he knows it's going to be a lot, is Principal Nezu. Which, the smarter ones, they said, oh, that would make a lot of sense. And then the stupid ones started to get scared and try to back off and try to, defend themselves on all the stupid acts they have done, especially Mineta, after learning that Zuko he's awake, of course. So he learns that Zuko's have direct contact with Principal Nezu. So they get a little scared, and Zuko said, "Calm down. I haven't used his title at all, and I'm not planning to. On the other hand, I might report to you if I see you actually do it and succeed." You got that, Manetta? As he turns over to the corner where Manetta was laying down on the ropes. And they all just see him shaking his head up and down. Zook said, "Alright." Now to the girls' side. They were talking about a few small things until Momo gets in. And well, this will be fun. Okay. Now, when Momo got in and, well, of course, took her seat, she was about to go to sleep. But she started to overhear about the girls, what they saw, and what they believe and how big he really is. They say probably average or even bigger or smaller. And they all really don't know, but basically everybody except Suyu and Momo saw. Because Suyu did not care. But Momo really wanted to look, but caught up in the moment of seeing Manila flying over to the other side. Now, the girls are talking about this quite loud, and while Suyu chimes in and tells them all, how about we just ask Momo to know if it's true or not? So the girls looked over, and Momo, with a huge blushing face, kind of stuttered and said, well, you see, the girls asked her if she ever seen it, if they ever gone that far. And Momo said no, on both. They were kind of disappointed, but leave it at that. Now, moving on to the next day. In the morning, everybody had to wake up early. Aizawa tells Bakugo to throw the ball. It goes 5 meters more, but that's basically it. And he shows that everybody needs to train even more, especially Zuko. Zuko kind of sighs and basically just walks on the opposite direction that Aizawa told him to go. Aizawa told him, starting to kind of yell a little louder, on telling him to go to the other direction. And Zuko said, "I know, I'm just getting some coffee." As Aizawa said, "Alright, get me some too." And Zuko said, waved his hands, saying, yeah. As everybody goes and trains. Momo with her quirk, Soto with his quirk, Araka with her quirk, and it goes on. And Zuko in the background, deep in the forest. Actually, he's up in the mountains, where Kota usually likes to have his alone time. It became a habit of him going up there ever since his family happened, that Zuko went up there whenever he feels like he wants to get away from all of the stuff. So when he's up there, he actually trains while he's up there, and he have Kota, of course, training along with him. So he's training, and what Zuko's doing? Well, he's climbing to the top, not using his quirk at all, to use his actual muscles, his limbs, to see how far he can go. And then when he gets to the top, he takes 1, 2, 3, kind of kicks in the air, but mostly he's pushing himself off the mountain, jumping off a few feet. When he hits the mountain on a slight edge, he does it again and again until he gets further enough where he's gonna see how far he can fall or how close he can touch the ground, and not crush himself. So it all depends on how fast he can bring out his wings in that moment. And this game, at first, it was 3 feet off the ground, and it was a slow cushion. Then it kept going for a few more days, and he got it down to 2 weeks and 2 feet. And everything goes well and done. So on the whole training, he was been doing that. After an hour of doing this, trying to make sure that he didn't lose his last year training. I'm sorry, I'm just losing my mind for a moment. Everything I said, he basically did that last year and the year before that. So this year he's trying to do it on the 1 foot gap, and every time he does, he's just getting barely to a 2 feet, barely 11, 20 feet and 23 inches above the floor. And Kota's there just measuring every time, and it's always the same time. So Zuko's just getting a little tired of this, because he had to waste all of his time mostly climbing up without his tail, without his wings, without his armor. So it's just taking the most time going up there again. After a few hours and it's getting close to lunch, Kota told him that and it's almost time for lunch. And Zuko said, yeah, just one more time. I think I can do this. And he was doing so much, he actually passed out while climbing. And it was a lot for once. After he finally awakened, being splashed in the face by Kota, Zuko noticed he's basically halfway up. And Kota was worried about Zuko. Zuko, of course, pats his head, tells him it's okay, and let's go get lunch. Kota climbed onto his back, and Zuko get himself into position and start flying towards the main area. As everybody gets there and were surprised to learn that they had to make their own food, Zuko did not care since he can make drinks. So he just have everybody say good. He said good luck to everybody, and was about to go get drinks until Momo pulls him aside and tells him he needs to learn how to cook too. She has another reason on why she wants him there, but she's not saying anything. And Zuko just said, fine. What do you want me to do? And she said, first off, can you start up a fire? And Zuko looks at the pile of sticks, brought out his wings, and just one feather falling off of his wings. He makes sure it's just hot enough where it can actually burn. When it finally touched the sticks, it started making smoke, and then Zuko blow on it just a bit, and a fire start up. And it was really interesting on how he used his quirk on something like that. And Momo just got more curious about his quirk and how he can control it. So he started up most of the fires, and then helped out with cutting up the vegetables. Mostly he liked it peeled, not cut up, so he'd been doing that. After everybody had their food, Momo was talking about, that her food, her lipids and her quirk is very useful, so she doesn't really lose weight. And Zero kind of makes this comment that says, so it's like poop, as she gets a little depressed, and Kyoka Juro smacks him and tries to apologize. After that little scene happened, she asked Zuko about his quirk a little bit more, and this time in front of everybody. And Zuko, since he was focused on his food, he didn't mind to filter anything. He just answered how he see it. So she asked him on how he can heat up his quirk, his wings. Zuko just said, "Oh, it's not really heating up. I'm cooling it down." And Momo said, "What?" but you just, sorry? And Zuko said, yeah, after he finishes food and, well, swallow it, no food in his mouth, he basically explained that his wings are naturally hot. It's the inner temperature of our bodies that's around 98 degrees Celsius, doesn't matter. He had to cool them down for people can touch or even for smaller things. So if Zuko tried to explain more, but most of he can see to everybody else's face except Momo's, basically the top 5 smartest, except him, are understanding. The others don't. So Zuko said, "Hold on." He gets Todoroki to make a block of ice, and Todoroki does. And Zuko said, "I'll be about here." He's about 20 feet away from Todoroki, and he explained that this is what my wings used to be without me controlling it. He bring them out. It's very small, but it's giving out a lot of heat. Such amount of heat from this and that one distance, and they're like 40 or 50 feet away. And Zuko, of course, is yelling, but it's melting in the ice. Very noticeable. You can tell it's melting, basically. Zuko gets close to the iceberg, and it's just a completely melt into water. And Zuko did a step further, and he lay himself down on the water. It started to boil, and then went up to steam. Which now they are shocked on how dangerous his quirk is. And Zuko said, "Yeah, but that's only for my wings. For this one, as he pulled out his armor, he shows that how he used it was basically covering up his whole arm and most of his shoulders. Says that's how it used to be. But with my training with, well, my dad and everybody else, I can do it like this." He morphed his very quirk into a shield-like, very skin-like armor onto his hand, part of his body, and mostly about 50 to 75% of his body covered in this armor. Not fully just yet. And Zuko said, and for these, he just pulled out one, says, "Well, I was only able to control one." Exactly. Now I can control more. But he's not pulling out any of those. And they're very interested in learning more about their strongest student, classmate, about his quirk. So they ask one more person asked about what is your quirk's name, and Zuko thinks about it and realized it wasn't given a name. So he thinks one on the spot. It can't be that since that's his hero name. So he's come up with this. I guess it's gonna be called Mutant. Yeah, Mutant. Since I'm like irregular compared to everybody else here. And they kind of get it, but of course they were yelled by everybody else, the teachers, to go back to training. And Zuko, of course, did. Now, it goes all about the whole 4 hours until it's time for dinner. They have their dinner, and they were going to go. But they have some free time. Most of this free time was because, well, Aizawa needed to give the failing classmates more things to study on. And by this time, Class B came by. And just saw the whole, everybody basically being very tired, doing a whole day of training and very exhausted, that they got a little scared by this point. Now, moving on to another point. Shall I? Yeah. Zuko is basically taking care of Koda, basically playing with him, having him use his quirk against his. It's kind of training, but kind of not. And Momo was just interested by this and was watching for the most time until a splash from Kota's water hose quirk on Zuko's shield went over onto Momo. And Kota apologized for what he did, which Zuko just asked her if she's okay, being a bit nicer since, well, in front of Kota, it brings out the dad-like personality, per se, which Momo, of course, appreciates and likes this new side of him. So she decided to help out with the training. And Zuko said it's not training, it's playing. And Kota said, yeah, it's playing. I don't like doing that. Not at all. And Momo said, yeah, I see. So she brings out create a ball. But it's a weighted ball. But she doesn't say this to Zuko. She just threw it at Zuko. He felt it and asked Kota to focus his blast onto this ball. As he was just juggling it, like acting like it was a balloon. And it was a 20-pound ball. It's a really heavy one. So Zuko's just holding it around just for Kota to target at it, and it's not even moving. Zuko just kind of taunt him and tells him to go a little stronger. He can take it. So Kota does. And he gets a bit better where it starts to increase his water pressure a bit more to a point where it's actually pushing the ball. And after 2 minutes of doing this, Kota stopped and got tired. Izuku pats his head and said, "You did great," as he tossed the ball to Kota. As Kota grabbed onto it and then felt the whole weight of the ball falling down, Zuko, of course, picked him up and said, "Okay, now let's go." As Kota realized that ball was heavy and he pushed a heavy ball. Momo, of course, chuckles on this little acting of Zuko and reactions with Kota. It was all cute and all. So the next 4 days, no, 4, I believe it was a week. Yeah, 4 days of training was exactly like this. Going back and forth, Zuko, of course, getting more friendly and nicer to everybody else. Especially with Todoroki, since Todoroki never seen him like this. And Todoroki, well, he, of course, takes in most of the Zuko's personality with him, that he became a lot nicer. Well, nicer is a stretching. He became more aware on how to pronounce or how to phrase some words for it won't seem difficult. Let's say it like that. Now, shall I do it? No. It's gonna be end of the week. I'm gonna do the other part. Mostly because I'll be focused on the action. And this was more about the drama. So, thank you for listening. Have a nice day and bye. But really, bye.